Hello everyone, and welcome to Screaming at the Wind. I am Jason Long, or that's the character I play over here. And what we are looking at right now is, I believe, a lavender plant in the front yard where I currently reside. And this plant is covered with bees, and I'm sitting just about a foot. I mean, my legs down here are about a foot, if that much, from the little plant, watching the bees. And bees aren't aggressive this type anyway, honey bees. So you can get really close as long as you don't make any sudden moves, or don't be afraid. Don't smack at them or anything like that. Don't attack them. They won't mess with you. You can actually go up and pet a honeybee. You can go up and touch them, and they won't bother you. They're not going to mess with you. You just can't be aggressive with them. You can be in there with them, and they won't bother you. They're just doing their thing. They're just doing their thing. Right, my hand's in the plant now with the bees. Anyway, it's kind of a neat thing. A lot of people are scared of bees, and it's understandable. A lot of people are allergic to bees. I just wanted y'all to see these bees. Busy, busy bees. Let's see the bees. It's getting close. Wonder if we can... Oh, look at this. We figured out how to zoom. Zoom a zoom. There's a little bee. See the bee? Hello, bee. Oop, there's another bee working. Busy, busy. Busy, busy. Oop, there's another one. Where'd it go? There's a lot of bees here. Beautiful, beautiful bees. Shrink back out. Here we go. I don't know how well you can see all the bees just buzzing. There is 100 bees or more on this little plant. A bunch of them. They really like the lavender. You're also going to hear traffic in the background on this video because there's a street right beside us here. But I just wanted you guys to see the bees. So we're going to be quiet for a minute with the background sounds and just sit for about 1 minute. All right, now let's see. We're gonna have to do some moving. Pardon me for the finger in the face there. We're gonna have to do some moving so we can actually shoot the rest of the video. I'm gonna turn, and I'm gonna be beside the bees, and I'm gonna flip the camera around. So here's the bees. See the bees? There's the bees, and here's me, right beside the bees. Ooh, And when you get real close, you can hear them buzzing. They're buzzing. Little bees buzzing. Ooh, they're right there by me. Uh-oh, there's one. He's right beside me. He's right beside me. Little bees. Little bees. I've noticed about bees is they seem to be working together, which they are. They have a common goal, food and procreation and making more bees and taking care of themselves. But while they're on this plant, they're all just doing their own little thing. All just doing their own little thing. And yet together, they're doing the thing for their hive. It's really cool. There's a natural oneness that we can see all around us. It's woven into everything. Ooh, there's a lot of them. Ooh, more and more and more. More and more and more. Must be more coming around. This is work time. Work time for the bees. Work time for the bees. Okay, guys. That's enough about bees. I'm gonna have to hold this, and we may do a little different today. So, in a sense, you know, how do we come to, let me get an angle where we're not, don't piss the bees off. Remember, don't move quick around them. But we need an angle where you guys can see us and the bees. Let's see. Yeah, that's good. All right. See the palm trees up there? All right. So, in the sense of, and you'll have to pardon the shaking because I've got, I just don't have anything to set this against today. But in the sense of non-duality, you know, in the sense of abiding non-dual awareness, what this, we could say one way to find this space, find the space of the true you, the one that's at perfect peace and contentment, and the one that's happy with everything and grateful, the one that is loved. That's what you are. You're that all the time. And there's stuff that seems to be in the way, and that's just illusions. But how do we get there? How do we find abiding non-dual awareness? How do we do that? Well, I can't say do as the bees. Don't be busy. But I could say bees still. What does that look like? Be still. What does that look like? What do you mean be still? Well, I'll quote from the Bible. I quote from a lot of religious and spiritual texts, but there's a verse in the Bible, I want to say maybe that Jesus spoke it, maybe not. But it says, be still, and know that I am God. Now, just let's be open-minded. You know, I'm not saying you have to have, you don't have to believe anything. In fact, I wish you wouldn't. It's part of the problem. Imagination is a beautiful thing when you know you're imagining. When you confuse it for a reality, well, it's something else. It's terrifying. It's nightmares. It's suffering. So, what I mean when I say this is finding a state in which the thinking mind had, well, the physical body, right, you could say, but the body not necessary. The reason we would sit still in meditation is when the body is still, then we can look at the workings of the mind and emotions and learn how to still those also. That's the work. I mean, it's not to gain any kind of, you don't gain like super magical abilities when you wake up. Or when you don't wake up, when you just see what you are, because that's what we're talking about. Nothing's awakening. You are awakeness, and you just got to see that. And that's what we all are. We are awakeness. We are consciousness. We are one. We are not two. There is no me, there is no you, but there is an I, and what I am, you are. Right? Seemingly. So we would sit still in meditation to learn how to still the mind, to get it perfectly still. Perfectly still. You're like, no, this is not possible. This is possible. This is 100% possible. And then when the mind gets still, it gets very, very easy then to still the heart. And I don't mean like cause it to stop beating. I mean to still the emotions and the instincts in the body, right? To still those. So we still everything inside. In the sitting still, physically, we learn to get the mind and the heart still, quiet, centered, all together here in this moment. And then, if we do that seemingly, that could be described as abiding non-dual awareness. Now, once we find the stillness, the job is to realize we are the stillness in which all the seeming chaos happens. Okay? We are the stillness. And then the thinking and the instincts and the heart, they do things within the stillness that you and I are. So once we find stillness, once we realize we're that stillness, that calm, home a lot of people call that place that we describe. You know, I reside at home all the time now. I don't leave home. I'm always at home. I don't mean my physical home here, I mean this home. Right? And not this home either. I reside in what I really am, and I watch what I'm not float around all the time. But first we find the stillness. Be still. Or bees still. It's bad. It's terrible, I know. Something just happened. I think I got pooped on. Anyway. Stillness. We use practices like yoga, like meditation, like rituals. People may have a little prayer place at home, and they burn some incense and they do some things. It looks like we're gonna have to move inside, guys. Give me 1 second. Okay. We'll just finish up here in the kitchen. In the kitchen. In the kitchen. In the kitchen. Let's go sit down at the table. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Hello. Okay. Let's turn it this way. Alright, look at that. It's a kitchen. So, a lot of modern spiritual practices, the meaning or the reason behind the practice is unknown, or even how the practice actually works and what the practice is actually supposed to accomplish. And all spiritual practices are designed to accomplish one thing, and that is to see the true nature of self and reality. That's what spiritual practice. If it's sit in a cave for 10 years, if it's burn some incense, if it's, walk around with the thing, swing the incense, if it's pray to, all the angels, if it's whatever, all that stuff is those are just practices that were given, that were designed to lead us to us, to lead us to us. And some of them aren't, and we have to figure out which ones those are too, because there's a lot of As Buddha said, there's a lot of flowery trappings on the path. There's a lot of things that are very fun. They're great experiences. They're almost like hobbies, you know, and they're part of what could be called the spiritual world, but they actually have nothing to do with the spiritual world at all. And they do, sort of. You know, the practices are there to bring about a state of abiding non-dual awareness or correct perception of reality. They are not there to do for your whole life. They are not there to continually do over and over again. Once you have found the truth of you, you don't need the flowery trappings anymore. You don't need the magic crystals. You don't need the teachers. You don't need the books. You don't need me. You know, that's what kill the teacher means. Or if you see the Buddha on the path, kill it. There's a point on the path where, you know, you gotta get a backbone, grow a set, as they say, spiritually, so that you can find that fruit that you're looking for, which is you. That's what you're looking for. That's what all this hustle and bustle's about. It doesn't matter if it's through spiritual seeking or through seeking power or money or fame or fortune or, you know, material possessions or whatever. You know, none of all that's still just flowery trappings on the path to you. That's where this road leads, to you. It leads away and back to you. Away and back to you. Or we could do it like this. It leads away and back to you. It leads away and back to you. It leads away. This is a really bad infinity symbol. Away and back to you. So every single form is an away from you and a back to you. An away from you and a back to you. An away from you and a back to you. Over and over again, forever. That's what that symbol, to me, points to. Because all the words point to something in reality. But in the seeing of the something, the word becomes useless. The mental concept becomes useless. The word tree, the image tree, the personal likes, thoughts, knowledge, experience of a tree have absolutely nothing to do with that physical form in seeming space, right? And that's the difference in the state of suffering, you know. The state of suffering is seeing all that other stuff as reality. The thoughts, likes, knowledge, experience, opinions, word, conceptual ideas about the object that the eyes seem to perceive in space, the tree, right? And tree is just a word we slapped on it, right? But if you see the tree as all this stuff, that's suffering. If the eyes just see the form without projecting all of this over onto it, that's true. You know, do you gain, like, there's a lot of weird stuff that happens in the world. You know, we get saints and people are into miracles and all that. And I mean, once you see right, I can tell you, like, I teach people what they are. That doesn't mean I know as Jason, this seeming separate form, knows anything intellectually that can be understood about the greater oneness, right? I'm just describing to you, and hopefully in ways pointing to you the truth of you. And if you see that, you won't be on here watching my videos anymore. You'll go do something. And if you see that, throw me a little cash. Because we still got to eat, right? We still got to pay bills. Just because you don't have to. You wake up, you can go live in the woods. You can go do whatever you want. This character likes to be out here in the world. In the cities. It's where I belong. This character. Doing this thing we do. For eternity. It's so fun. It's like hide and seek over and over again forever. I mean, you know, you hiding from yourself and seeking yourself. You hiding from yourself and seeking yourself. And you've left everything around you is a hint about the truth of you. Everything. Those wooden cabinet doors, the refrigerator, this goofy dude with the big long beard and his mama's beanie. My mom makes these. I carry a little love with me everywhere I go. You know, and all this is just something to experience. It's not. This form is not any greater from over there than it is from over here. It's not. It's not greater or less than. It's just a car. It's just a car. That's all. I mean, you go get in your actual car. Do you believe you're your car? And some people do, by the way. A lot of us do. Get a scratch on your car and see how emotional you get about it, especially if you got a new car, right? See how upset it gets you when you have a car that you worked hard to buy and then someone disrespects it. And the reason that emotional thing happens is because at some point there was a belief in here that there was a me that was detached to another belief, a conceptual idea about the form, the car, right? And then the story in the head connects this me, belief of a me separate from reality, to car, my car. Soon as that attachment, and it's a belief attachment, it's a mental attachment, right? Once that's in place in the mind, in the computer up here, it's going to generate the necessary emotional response based on the beliefs, the story in the head, right? And so if I believe there's a me, or if I give into the story, which there's a me and that's my car, and then that car gets wrecked, well, the emotions here are going to be crappy because the story is there's a me attached to that object, and now the object is, so that object based on the story is me. That's what belief does. It makes that object me. So when the object is harmed, I'm going to feel an impact. So if I can just see clearly that that's not me, that there is no me. I can see a form in the mirror of this character, right? I can see that. But I've never seen this character from the way you guys see it. I don't think. I mean, maybe this camera helps me to see the way you guys see it. I don't know. I've never seen this face directly. How's that? And you've never seen your face directly. That's weird. And you see an opposing image of your face. You don't see the true image of your face ever when you're looking in the mirror. But you've never seen your own face directly with your own two eyes. That's weird. Something to play with. This video has been very different today. I felt very spontaneous. The bees. I sat there and watched the bees for probably 15-20 minutes before we started the video. You know, it was like the best ride. It's almost like a little roller coaster, you know, but you're just sitting there watching the bees. But the bees can teach us something else too, and that is how to be good tenders of the garden, how to work and communicate harmoniously with one another. How to work hard, right? I don't get the thing where you, and whatever, awareness awakes wherever it awakes. That's how it works. And you don't get a choice, but everything gets you there. That's the point of the game. And so, in that sense, this character loves, I like work, I like certain types, and get a kick out of very physical labor. And when awakeness happened, I kind of had a choice. I could just go off into the woods and die, or live in a cave and, walk around naked or whatever. Or I could just be here where I've been the whole time and do this thing, right? Seemingly, but there still isn't a choice. That's the beauty of it all. There's no choice. It's all just happening. It's all just, it's so, whew. Let me tell you something, guys. If we can get over playing the fucking victim, which is a story created by fear in our bodies, if we can get over that story, and we can look around and see the truth that my life is my life because of my choices, then we get in a different seat. Then we start making choices where we don't live life as a victim. We make choices that lead us toward our true self and away from falsity and untruth, right? Because getting woke or awake or illumined or liberated is not about learning anything. It's about unlearning or seeing through everything you've ever been taught about everything. None of it's true. None of it has anything to do with this beautiful, perfect thing that we're a part of, that nobody on this planet has two real fucks of knowledge about. Not even me. And I say that because you need to know, I don't know shit. I know what I am. And I know that by being that. I sit in that. I sit in the I amness that I am. As I always have. But it's just been seen clearly here that that's what I am. And everything after I am, that's all make-believe. Right? So we need to see that. And that was a little more aggressive than I usually do on my videos. But a lot of my friends like to call me the militant guru. And I'm not militant. I'm loving. But love sometimes carries a bamboo stick, needs to smack you in the head a couple times so you can see clearly. Because who wants to suffer? And once we know the true nature of suffering, we would not want anyone else to suffer. And if you found true awakeness, your job, your only passion, it seems from this point of view, is to talk about this subject all the time to everybody. Friends, family, strangers on the street, cameras on the internet. Why? Because the truth of you is so amazing and does not need anything else. And in finding that, you become truly empowered to change the world, not in these weird make-believe ways that we're doing right now, because they're not helping. They're not. None of the stuff we're doing in our well, there's some of the stuff that people like living in smaller communities, getting off the grid, cutting down on their belongings, minimalism, living in tiny homes. These are actual positive things where we're doing something to heal the planet. We need to get rid of a lot of these buildings and stuff we built, freeways and all that stuff, and we need to plant gardens and trees. That's what I think. That's my personal opinion that has nothing to do from a higher perspective. It's the character's opinion. When awakeness happens, it doesn't mean that you don't have opinion about things. You still get to play. You just know where you are and who you are and what's going on here. It's the only difference. And you can play that game however. I could choose to play the game like other teachers, and I could say, I could have these big things where I sit and I'm dressed in white and I got the little thing over my lap and I got the flowers and, the little lay flowers and the picture of a guru, and I'm not dogging that. That works, I guess. I don't know. That happens. There's a lot of teachers that do that. I'm not judging. I don't do that way. This is the way I do it. And I'm going to do public speaking, and I'm going to start leading some meditation classes because it's been what would you say? The universe has shown me that that's what I'm supposed to do. That's where I'm supposed to go. Right? In a way. I'm not choosing anything. I'm just doing what I see that this character is supposed to do. Because, one of the guys I like to watch is Muji. He's one of those guys. He sits in his chair with his, he's got the flowers and all that. And that's great. I love Muji. He's great. Is he teaching non-duality? Yeah. Yep. Yep. Am I? Yep. Is there a Muji and a Jason? Nope. Does it seem like it? Yeah. But awakeness, when awakeness happens, only has the knowledge and information of the character and the character's life up to that point, it would seem. You don't remember all your past lives because this doesn't seem to work that way. Desires seem to move, energy seems to exchange, but this point of consciousness being this point of consciousness again somewhere else, don't know, can't say. Wouldn't imagine or even try to say that. But I know what karma is, and I know what dharma is. Karma is the thought, feeling mechanism, and it's working on positive and negative. It's running toward perceived pleasure and away from perceived pain. And that's the whole self. Every conversation you hear, walk down the street and listen. It's about running away from perceived pleasure or perceived pain toward perceived pleasure. Running away from a life that seems not to be whole, perfect, and good toward a life that seems to be perfect, whole, and good. And anybody who's been down that road long enough will tell you, even if they've gained fame and fortune and all this crap, anybody who's been down that road long enough will tell you that, no, the stuff, the power, the fame, the fortune, it does nothing. There's nothing outside of you. Because the whole thing's you, really, but even seemingly as the form. There is nothing outside of you that will add to you or take away from you. There are beliefs in the minds of the forms, right, that say so and make it feel so. As a scientific fact, though, if I get a Ferrari, right, I can't glue that Ferrari to me. This is actually, I didn't come into the world with this or these, this hat or, no, these clothes, right? These are actually, and I can't make them a part of me or the form. The form is the form, and I can't literally, I could pull a tooth, cut my hair, bite my finger, or cut my nails, bite my nails, whatever, right? And that would take off the weight of the body. Does that take away from me? No. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? Right? When you go get a haircut, imagine like believing that you're attached to your hair. And when they cut it off, it just, oh my God! It doesn't take it. You could cut your arm off and it wouldn't take away from you. You'd still be perfect. The body, the car, it's got some damage, but it's not you. It's just a form. But this has to be seen clearly over there from that point within consciousness. And if a teacher is moving you toward that, then I would say listen to them. And if it doesn't seem like they're moving you toward that, then I would question. I would question. Question everything. That's how you get where you need to go. If you just blindly believe everything you're told in life, well, that'll get you where you're going to. Get you to a different spot. Question everything. Everything you were taught about reality and life. Question it all. Yeah, there's nothing that can add to you or take away from you. Hate to tell you. People told you that there was stuff that could. Like that, the right purse or bag, the right glasses or the right watch or the right clothes or the right career or the right amount of money or the right physical form, right? Because there's a belief that I and the body are the same. Look at that belief, question it, tear it apart, rip it to shreds, see if it's real. That's how you get awake. Take the self, turn it in on itself, and examine itself. And if done fervently, long enough, and hard enough, ever seen the Ouroboros, the snake eating its tail? That's what'll happen. Taking the false self, turning it in on itself, examining itself, and then it devours itself. That's what I think the Ouroboros means. It would seem that way. And I believe that because that's what was experienced here about 5 years ago. It's very uncomfortable. It's like being skinned alive. It looked to the outward observer as though I was a crackhead, or I was on drugs, or I was in a psychosis, or bipolar. People call it a lot of stupid stuff. What was happening was the self was devouring itself. And it's an uncomfortable experience. But also, awareness is waking up. The house is burning down, and what's left? The phoenix. Right? The phoenix rises out of the ashes. And that's also symbolic of the process of self-immolation, self-devouring self, right? That process, alchemical process of transforming the lead of the flesh into the pure gold of the spirit, which is also right here, right now, and is directly perceivable. Spirit meaning underlying true nature of reality. Same as the word God, same as the word all, same as the word Tao, same as the word heaven. When you perceive the underlying oneness or not to nature of reality, freedom immediately ensues. But that process takes a couple years. It's not nice. The Dark Night of the Soul. Saint John of the Cross wrote a book, Dark Night of the Soul. That book describes in detail from the Christian perspective. Understand, he just went through it from the Christian perspective. Like I said, awareness, depending on where it wakes up, only has the information and knowledge that that particular character has attained within that life to give and teach with. I have friends who tell me you should adjust your teaching this way. You should candy. To me, it sounds like they're saying you should candy coat it, make it a little sweeter. That's not how this character is supposed to teach. Alan Watts, who was a great non-dual teacher, speaker, said, the earth peoples, and there's two types of people. There's warm and squishies, and there's hard and spiky. And I use both, but I'm more hard and spiky. I just think also, as we get closer to the end of our seeming existence here as the form, right, the urgency in the form gets stronger to get this message out more, right? And so I just, sometimes I get short when I'm working with people because death is coming, seemingly. It's a joke. This is the valley of the shadow of death. Shadow, it's not real. It's just another belief. Just Just another belief that needs to be seen through clearly, right? Something that comes to mind too is there's also a term called I think it comes from Zen, maybe not. I think it's Zen. Death by 1,000 cuts. And that's also a phrase that perfectly uh, uh, encapsulates the process of awakening. Now, those 1,000 cuts can be one at a time over the entire course of a lifetime, right? And then a person's dying on their deathbed, and they get the rest of the cuts all at once, and those last few days are spent in truth. And also a bittersweet kind of regret that you weren't here for your life because you're lost in the cave of the mind. As Plato says, watching shadows, beliefs that have nothing to do with reality. Many have eyes, but they do not see. Many have ears, but they do not hear. That's a literal statement. We all can see it. We see people all the time that have eyes and ears, and they just aren't here. And the truth is, none of us are here. Seeing it is very hard. It's the simplest thing, though, of our reality. And in seeing it, it is almost as though finally you get to be here. And I will end with a statement, as far as I know, from Mr. Rogers. I like Mr. Rogers. He said, "You are perfect, just the way you are." And I'm going to add to that. If a thought, a feeling, a circumstance or situation, or another seeming human being tells you otherwise, they're all wrong. See that. Sit in the truth of yourself. Wholeness and perfection. Be still. Be still. And know your true nature. Be still and know what's really going on here and where you really are. Be still. And I will add another quote. This is going to be confusing a little maybe to some people. In doing nothing, nothing is left undone. Alright guys, here's some little bit of shameless non-self promotion. If you like what you hear and you want to hear more videos and you want to be alerted, please subscribe. I don't have a button on here that says subscribe, but please do subscribe. I don't think I have a button on here. Anyway, please subscribe. Let's get this out to more people. If you find freedom, tell others. Point them this way. If you find the truth of you, good. Tell others. Point them this way. And then go tell other people about it yourself. Let's get this thing a-rolling. Let's get this thing a-rocking and a-rolling. How's that sound? You are love. You are perfection. You are wholeness. In every second of every day. Be that. Sit in it. Find it. Know it. And don't let anything veer you from that. And the more you get comfortable sitting within yourself, as you are, the more you will see the truth of your own existence. Bye now.